For centuries, we viewed the edge of our solar system as a finished map, a stagnant graveyard of jagged rocks and monotonous shadows. We imagined a realm where time itself froze into a boring, silent periphery, a mere footnote to the grand story of the 8 major planets. But the more we peel back the curtain of the cosmos, the more we realize that our imagination was far too small. The truth is not silent or stagnant. It is a haunting masterpiece of the macabre and the divine. In the furthest reaches of our neighborhood, there are mountains of frozen glass drifting in the dark skies that bleed a deep crimson under the faint touch of a dying sun, and hearts made of chemical poisons that would shatter a human soul. We are not looking at a mere rock, but at a forgotten deity reigning over a kingdom of ice and absolute zero. Is it possible for a world to breathe only when it faces the sun? Why is its heart stained with the color of dried blood? And what secrets does its charcoal black companion hide in the shadows? Somewhere, something incredible is waiting to be known, tucked away. 5 mil millones de millas de distancia de casa. This is the 4th chapter in our odyssey through the 5 titans of the Outer Rim, the series on our solar system's dwarf planets. You have walked the plains of Pluto and felt the mystery of the deep, but now it is time to meet the red enigma that watches the stars from the furthest balcony of our system. Hidden until the dawn of the new millennium and named after a god of creation, this is the story of the world we call Makemake. Chapter 1. The Resurrection of the Easter Bunny. The story of Makemake's discovery is a testament to human persistence and the sheer scale of the cosmic hunt. In the early DOS mill, the outer solar system was still a vast terra incognita, a place where our maps ended in a blur of pixels and uncertainty. On March 31, 2005, a team led by Mike Brown at the Palomar Observatory spotted a tiny speck of light moving with agonizing slowness against the backdrop of distant stars. Because the discovery occurred so close to the holiday, the team internally nicknamed this object Easter Bunny. For years it sat in the data, a nameless ghost 5 mil millones de millas away. But as the data trickled in, the bunny transformed into something much more significant. It wasn't just a stray rock. It was a world of staggering proportions. At the time, the scientific community was in a state of frenzy. We were discovering objects that rivaled the size of Pluto, and the very definition of a planet was beginning to crumble. The boldness of asking deep questions may sometimes be met with unexpected answers, and Makemake was the ultimate unexpected answer. It was the 3rd largest known object in the Kuiper Belt, and its existence alongside Eris was the final catalyst that led to the reclassification of Pluto. Makemake didn't just join the solar system, it rewrote the rules. It proved that the Kuiper Belt wasn't a junkyard, but a vibrant, crowded frontier of worlds in waiting each, with its own geological soul and complex history. It forced us to accept that our celestial neighborhood was far more populated than our ancestors ever dreamed. Chapter 2. The Palette of Frozen Blood. If you were to stand on the surface of Makemake, the first thing that would overwhelm your senses is the color. This is not the sterile gray of our moon or the pale ghostly white of a common comet. Makemake is bathed in a deep, disturbing shade of brownish red. This isn't rust and it isn't soil. This color is the result of a slow, multi-billion-year chemical torture. The surface is covered in a thick mantle of methane, ethane, and nitrogen ices frozen into a shell as hard as steel. As cosmic rays and ultraviolet light from the distant sun strike these ices over eons, they trigger a complex transformation. They break the molecular bonds of the methane and reassemble them into complex organic molecules known as tholins. These tholins act like a dark red dye, staining the entire world in the color of dried blood or deep mahogany. It is a visual representation of the sun's reach. Even at such extreme distances, the star's energy is capable of rewriting the chemistry of a world. Nature uses only the longest threads to weave her patterns, and on Makemake, those threads are woven from frozen gas and the invisible touch of radiation, creating a landscape that looks like a painting from a dark celestial nightmare. This red hue makes Makemake one of the most visually striking objects in the outer solar system, second only to Pluto in its brilliance, yet far more mysterious in its chemical composition. It is a world that has been sunburned by the very star that provides it almost no warmth. Chapter 3: The Mystery of the Vanishing Atmosphere. One of the most baffling characteristics of Makemake is its vanishing atmosphere. For years, scientists expected Makemake to have a thin, hazy envelope of nitrogen similar to Pluto's. Because of its size and its methane-rich surface, it seemed logical that as it moved through its orbit, some of that ice would turn to gas. However, in 2000, once a rare opportunity arose. Makemake passed in front of a distant star, an event known as an occultation. Astronomers across South America pointed their telescopes at the sky, expecting to see the star fade out slowly as the atmosphere blocked its light. Instead, the star disappeared instantly. This revealed a shocking truth. Makemake has no global atmosphere. It is a naked world exposed to the crushing vacuum of space. Yet the paradox remains. Why does it have so much methane ice if there is no air to circulate it? The leading theory suggests that Makemake is a world of local atmospheres. Only the warmest, sun-drenched parts of the surface might sublimate, creating temporary pockets of gas that linger like a low-lying fog before freezing back onto the ground. It is a world that breathes in gasps, never quite able to hold its breath against the absolute zero of the void. This lack of a protective shield makes the surface a place where the vacuum of the universe kisses the frozen ground, directly creating an environment of extreme purity and extreme violence. Chapter 4: The Lone Companion, Enigmatic. For more than a decade after its discovery, Makemake appeared to be a solitary king drifting through the Kuiper Belt without a single subject to its name. It seems statistically impossible that a world of its mass would have no satellite. Then in April 2016, the Hubble Space Telescope achieved the impossible. By peering into the intense glare of the dwarf planet, it spotted a charcoal black dot orbiting 3,000 miles away, officially named S2 01 5 1 3 6 4 7 2 1, but known to the world as Makemake. This moon is a stark contrast to its parent. While Makemake is bright and red, Enigmatic is as dark as a used piece of coal. It is estimated to be only 100 miles wide, hiding in the shadows of the forgotten deity. The existence of Enigmatic was the missing link for scientists. By studying the way Enigmatic tugs on Makemake, researchers were finally able to weigh the dwarf planet with precision. This calculation revealed that Makemake is remarkably dense, suggesting a massive rocky interior beneath its icy shell. The story of the universe is a story of the emergence of complexity. And even in this dark, lonely corner, we find a complex binary system, a dance of light and shadow that has persisted for 4 billion years. The interaction between these two bodies suggests a violent past, perhaps a collision that stripped the moon of its reflective ice, leaving only the dark, rocky core behind. Chapter 5: The Rapa Nui Connection and the God of Creation. The naming of this world was a deliberate act of cultural bridge building. When the time came to move past the Easter Bunny nickname, the Discovery team chose the name of the creator god of the Rapa Nui people of Easter Island. In their mythology, Makemake was the god of fertility and the creator of humanity. There is a profound, almost haunting irony in this choice. We have named one of the coldest, most desolate, and life-shattering places in the solar system after a god of life and creation. But perhaps the name fits better than we think? In the grand scale of the cosmos, these dwarf planets are the leftovers of the creation process, the raw materials that were never quite gathered into the larger planets. They are the ancestral fossils of our solar system. By studying Makemake, we are looking at the fertility of the early solar nebula, the chemical seeds that eventually led to the birth of the world we call home. We are looking at our own ancient history preserved in a deep freeze, waiting for us to read the signature of our origins. The Rapa Nui Birdman cult sought the first egg of the season. Similarly, astronomers seek in this dwarf planet the first eggs of our planetary system, the primordial material that has remained unchanged for billions of years. Chapter C's The Physics of Absolute Solitude. Makemake's orbit is a journey of epic, almost incomprehensible proportions. It takes 305 Earth years to complete a single trip around the Sun. To put that in perspective, since the day this world was discovered in 2005, it has barely moved a fraction of its path. When Makemake was last in its current position, the United States didn't exist, and the steam engine was a high-tech dream. It exists on a time scale that makes human history look like a flicker of a candle in a hurricane. The distance is so vast that the sun appears only as an incredibly bright point of light, providing no warmth, only a haunting cold illumination. At these temperatures, around -240 grados Celsius, the very nature of matter changes. Materials that we think of as gases like methane and nitrogen become as hard as granite. This is a laboratory of the extreme where the standard rules of planetary science are pushed to their breaking point. Everything we call real is made of things that cannot be regarded as real. For at these temperatures, the molecular vibrations of life effectively stop, and the world becomes a crystal statue, frozen in time. It is a reminder that we are small, and the stage upon which we play is far more vast and terrifying than we dare to admit. In this absolute solitude, the laws of physics are the only companions Makemake has ever known. Chapter C: The Red Mirror of the Kuiper Belt. Why does Makemake matter in the grand scheme of science? Beyond the chemistry and the cold, Makemake serves as a mirror. It is a standard candle for the Kuiper Belt. Because it is so bright and its surface is so clean, compared to other objects, it allows astronomers to calibrate their instruments and understand what the pristine material of the early solar system looks like. It is one of the few objects large enough to have undergone differentiation, where heavier materials sink to the center to form a core. This means Makemake isn't just a ball of ice. It's a tiny functioning planet with its own internal geophysics. It tells us that even 4 billion miles away, the same laws of gravity and heat that shaped Earth were at work. It bridges the gap between the small, irregular comets and the massive gas giant planets. Makemake is the middle child of the solar system, forgotten by the history books for centuries, but now standing as a crucial witness to the architecture of our cosmic home. It is a world that suggests that even in the most remote corners of the void, the universe is organized, complex, and strangely beautiful, holding on to the secrets of our Quattro, C's billion-year-old ancestry. Makemake stands as a sentinel of the red shadows, a world that proves beauty can exist in the most hostile conditions imaginable. It reminds us that our solar system does not end at the familiar. It merely begins a new, more mysterious chapter. This crimson dwarf is a testament to the fact that even in the dark, there is structure, history, and a strange kind of divinity. We are beginning to understand that we are just an advanced breed of monkeys on a minor planet, circling a very average star. Yet we have the audacity and the intellect to reach out billions of miles and name the gods of the outer dark. Our journey through the 5 dwarf planets is nearing its final, most explosive crescendo. Having explored the red plains of Makemake, our next and final destination is the final boss of the Kuiper Belt, the goddess of discord herself. She is the massive cold titan whose discovery changed everything and ultimately ended Pluto's reign as a planet. Prepare yourselves for the series finale, the cold, chaotic fury of Eris. If you want to be there when we touch down on the edge of discord, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. What do you think is hiding in the dark of the final dwarf planet? Let us know in the comments. Makemake is a frozen echo of a violent beginning. It is a crimson bridge between the known and the infinite. In its silence, we find the courage to keep looking up.